And I'm Katina.
We're here with 5 practical tips on how to support a friend who's grieving.
Most of our tips are from harvard.edu.
Stay tuned for number 5. It's going to change your life. So our first tip is that it's really important to acknowledge the person's loss and say the name of the person, acknowledge the event, share memories. Sometimes we can feel uncomfortable or awkward, or we might feel uncomfortable or awkward bringing up the person's name, but it's really important to validate that person and who they were to the grieving person and what they meant in their life, and give them a chance to share their memories and work through that. So we shouldn't be afraid or shy away from that discomfort. We just need to get in there and really acknowledge where that person is and not skirt away from it or make them uncomfortable like they can't talk about it.
Tip number 2 is reach out. This is important because a lot of times a person who's bereaved has a hard time reaching out and admitting that they might need a hand with this or that. So it's important for us to be able to initiate when we want to support a friend who's grieving. When reaching out, it's important to remember to avoid certain phrases, such as "it's God's will" or "this is for the best." These phrases aren't helpful to anyone, and it's really important when you are reaching out to a friend to offer comfort to avoid those phrases altogether, or phrases like that.
Third tip is to listen well without being tempted to advise. I know it's really hard. We want to get in there, we want to give advice, we want to fix it. But a sympathetic ear that listens is a great thing, but a sympathetic ear that will listen to the same story over and over again when nothing's really changing in that person's life and their struggle, that is invaluable. And because what they really honestly need from you is a sounding board, somebody who can sympathetically listen to them. And most people who are grieving, they are not looking for advice. They need to tell you where they are and have your heart hear their heart.
Number 4, help out. This is really important because people who are grieving, people who are bereaved, might have a hard time asking specifically for what they need, but they also might have a hard time even knowing what they need. It's important for you to be really specific about what you can offer or what you're willing to offer, especially over time. So a lot of help comes at the beginning of an event or a crisis, and then it kind of wavers off and there isn't as much support. So especially if you wait a month or 2 months, not that you shouldn't get involved in the beginning, but a lot of times all that help and support kind of wavers off. So it's a great time to really get involved and show your friend or your loved one that you haven't forgotten about this major life transition or major loss. So being specific about ways you can help. I'm coming over, I'm going to do your dishes and your laundry. I'm coming over, I'm bringing you a meal, we're going to eat it together. It's really important for people to know that you haven't forgotten, but that you want to be involved, that you're coming over. Sometimes you really have to take the initiative, come say, I'm bringing groceries, and whether they need it or not, it's the thought that makes a huge difference. Get involved. Use your skills to love your loved ones well. It's important to acknowledge before we get to number 5 that it's really hard to see a friend hurting. It's really challenging to see a friend broken and struggling and not be able to offer a solution, fix it, or rush them into a healing situation.
Absolutely. It's really hard to watch a friend suffer, and we just want to fix it.
Yes. So number 5 is prepare to be amazed.
It's going to change your life, or we hope that it will.
Or change the life of the people you support. 5 is avoid judgments
and advice
on how the process should look. It's different for everyone because we're all so unique, and each of us experience the same loss differently, but we also come with different personalities and different childhoods that all play into how we grieve and how we experience every different loss.
That's a really good point, because I'm not like Katina and she's not like me. We each have our own way of grieving, and we each have our own way that we need to be grieving. And so if I care about Katina and I love Katina and I want her to succeed in her process, I want to encourage her to do what she needs to do and not what I need to do.
In the time that is right for me.
Correct. We can't, we need to avoid the temptation to speed someone through a process. And it's hard for us to watch our friends hurt. We want to get them through it quickly. We want to fix them. But we can't do that because it doesn't work.
And I think part of the reason that this has become such an embraced part of our culture is that this should look a certain way for everyone is because of the 5 stages of grief that everyone is just obsessed with. It's just not a real thing. Every person is different. We shouldn't put these parameters on people to say, if you haven't experienced anger, then you're not grieving the right way. There's no quite right way for every person to grieve. It's different for every person. So we need to stop putting that label on people, that expectation that there's a certain way and you need to do certain steps to be healthy.
Absolutely. And I think the pressure that takes off, the freedom that we feel to know, I'm not supposed to be at a particular stage of this grief, and I might even repeat all, certain steps over and over again. It's not a stage thing. We might have these same remnants within ourselves for the rest of our lives.
Let's avoid these comments of, you should cry, or you should be doing this or that. What was the other one?
You need to get over this. You need
to get over this. Katina. Are you over it yet?
I think it's time you were over this, Katina.
I'm over us as a culture being insensitive, what our grieving friends and family need. So let's take this on. And let's educate each other and support each other as we grow in becoming more compassionate, empathetic, and understanding.
Absolutely. And let's give people the time that they need to work through whatever they're working for. Let's not rush them, and let's just listen.
This is Grief and Hope Connect.
Thanks for listening.
Like us below, like our channel, subscribe.
And if there's something that you really want us to talk about, a topic that you want us to touch upon, put it in the comments and we will make a video for you.
Thank you.